Do not attempt to just leave it alone. Just listen. This is for listening. Norman Woodstock Spalding, I'm a radio broadcast host. That's why you can't see anything. I'm very ugly. I'm quite ashamed. So YouTube said, go ahead. You can keep your mouth shut. I mean, you can keep that ugly puss quiet. And I did. Well, I will run my heart. Now look. I want you to know something about me. A little profile. I'm an idiot. I don't want you doing anything. I am not liable for your behavior. I'm just like Christ. He wouldn't. For them to make Christ liable for humans' behavior is stupid. Probably the biggest thing, you realize that the multitude that the Romans allowed Jesus to assemble, I just thought about that the other day. Probably no one in that society was allowed to draw that big a crowd. The Romans wouldn't let them do it. They did Jesus. They sure did. That was really unheard of in the day and age that was going on. And believe me, the Jews in official were a froth. They were not allowed to do that. Are you aware of that? You stop and think about it. Just like today. Only Jesus had exception. You notice when he grabbed the multitude, he got the concession to donate and contribute. That's why they had the loaves and fishes and the stuff left over. That was concession and people bringing stuff. Sure was. They didn't show up with nothing. Baloney. No. It didn't come out of the nothing. And it wasn't because he made some magic happen where it just multiplied out of thin air. Baloney to think things like that. You sure take the work out of living, don't you, doing that? In your mind. Bunk. This is not a house of special effects. I'm sorry, it ain't. The stuff you're showing these kids when they have to get out and get their hands involved in living, you are criminals. Look what you're doing to what the children have to remember. Nothing. You're not giving them anything to remember. You're an idiot. They're mammals. You can't do this. You're starving that mind. You have to give a tangible thing to this planet. Want to bet? I'm an idiot. Don't do anything I tell you. Don't. Do what your own conscience tells you. When you put two and two together and back up, remember more, and apply yourself to honesty and generosity. Do it. Do lovely. Want to hold me liable? Hold me liable for that. And that's why the Romans let Jesus gather a crowd too, without any insurance or anything. He had exception to their, listen, there's stuff sure on people like the Jews. They couldn't wait to cause trouble in their own society. Look what they do right now. Have the Jews changed any since before they left the promised land to go to Egypt? Because they'd already behaved that way at home. Oh, they could prophesy everything but the famine. What does that mean? None of their prophecy worth a hoot. Can't prophesy a famine and get ready for it. What's smarter? You can't tell when it's going to storm? That's all a famine is, a storm. Dumb. Usually get famine because you didn't know how to pace. And you know when you get famine because you can't migrate, you get stuck on a piece of property, you should get the hell out of there anyway. Southern Oregon. Lumberland. Get out! Oh, what can we do? Nothing. You didn't do anything before. Cut those logs and shipping them out. We're really labor. You didn't build nothing. You tore it down. What'd you do? You nothing. Has the lumber industry in the United States or anywhere else on the planet ever done anything? No, you're a thief. You can't say that. Well, yeah, just because you're big enough to strangle me, I can't say it. Is that it? Well, when logic comes along, I'll tell you what. You'll come along with something else going to say it to you, and it won't have embodiment of flesh. Called barometrics. And it's going to make you understand that, whether you like it or not. The real thing, you know what those forests represent? Capacitance, inductance. I think the forests of this planet are like a big capacitor. When you watch how it has to work. Now it does work. That's a capacitor. And you're to top the capacitor, and it would have thickened up. That'd have been cool. And it's not too late to get started now. Top the capacitor. Do not dig up a trunk again. Do not dig up the roots ever, ever, ever again when you harvest the forest. Do you understand me? Simple as that. I took care of that. Now, it'll be generations before you get to prosper that one. Only it's like putting money in the bank. Want to put money in the bank? Top the forest. Money in the bank. For those that have to live without harvesting any lumber at all. Now that'll thicken up, you can take the planet somewhere. You got a capacitor. A better capacitor than you had before you started. Do it that way. Ah! All I do is speak in tongues with the wind in the air. I see on Ah! Sacre bleu. Pay no attention to me. I'm an idiot. Pay attention to yourself. Norman with Sucks Bowling, Bare Bones Broadcasting. Consider what I point to. You and all the assets of this planet. Enjoy them, please. Please. So this old monarch can go home. With a smile on his face. That's what we're up to doing. Put a smile on the face of the monarch. Mm-hmm.